And the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to show you some very difficult reloading. This is probably one of the largest challenges I've ever had, reloading an 8.15 by 46R. The 6.5 by 53R are very difficult also, and the 25-35 Winchester. Many times I have to make brass or actually convert brass from one caliber to another. And that's what we're going to do with the 8.15 by 46R. We're going to go from a 3240 Winchester, and actually we can go from 6.5 by 53R and blow the cases out, which I have some, and I'll show you that. But the first thing, I'm going to show you how easy it is to reload some bullets. Right here, I have 45 ACP. Here's a case. It has been shot, it has been cleaned. It still has a primer in it. Now I'm going to be using a Diller press over here. And the Diller press, you just flip the bottom of it. And that first step deprimes it and expands the case. Down here, this has a very, very good priming system. So we're going to use it. We're going to look at it. It's been primed now, if you can see that far. We're going to go over here. We're going to spread it out. Then we're going to put some powder in it. That's an automatic powder measurer. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to put a bullet in it. Bullet, 200 grain hollow point. And this here seats the bullet and crimps the bullet also. So now we have one complete bullet of 45 ACP. I'll put it over here. I do one more stage, but this only has 4 stages. This one has 5 stages over here. That is a RCBS Pro 2000, and you can slip the different reloading dies in there. You can either replace them or pull that whole thing out. And these 4 stages, and that 4 stages will do everything. Except on this one here, the priming feed on it leaves a lot to be desired, to tell you the truth. We're going to do another one of these now, do it more quickly. We're using a unique powder here. Now we have another reloaded shell. Now that will shoot fine in the 45 ACP, but I do have a optional. This is a crimper that crimps a little tighter, like a factory crimp. Let's do another one of these. And let's look at that. That one didn't do so well, so we're going to do that again. That was a military load, and it has a little crimp in it. Sometimes they mess up the primer. This primer feed here holds a long tube of primers, about 200 there on this one, and like I said, it's a very good priming system. Now, as you look over here, this is set up for 38 special. There. The first one here on the left is a 410 2.5 inch mech reloader. Then we have a 3-inch 410. We have a 28 gauge. And then we have a 20 gauge, a 16 gauge, and a 12 gauge. And over there is a little press. It's only a 3-stage press, actually. And I fixed up a automatic powder primer or powder dispenser on that one. That didn't come that way. I basically built that. So there's some 9mm there and 380. Now, I don't want to make you dizzy, but over here on top of that, you'll see many, many, many reloading dies up there. I'll go read off some of them to you. Of course, this is 38 special, that's 45 ACP. Here's 3840, 3220, 2520, 4440, 45 Colt, 3 die set for 44 Magnum, 30-06, 22 Hornet, 7.61 by 61, or 7 by 61 Sharps and Holland. And then we have a 243 Winchester, 3856, very rare caliber, 30 carbine, and this is all 30 carbine there, 3855 Ballard, or 3855 Winchester. We have here a 270, another 270, a 33 Winchester, 33 Winchester, and some options for the 33 Winchester here also. 380 Allo, 44 Magnum, 4570, 308 Winchester, 45 Colt, 45 ACP, and 45 ACP and 45 Winchester Magnum. I have more over here, 3220 and different ones. Now what we're really going to do is we're going to show you how difficult it is to load some of these calibers. Like I said, this one here, this caliber is the most difficult that I have loaded so far. It is not easy at all. First of all, you can't buy brass for it, as far as I know. This is a 8.15 by 46R. It's made out of a 3240, but I can also make it out of a 2535, 3030 Winchester. If you do a 3030 Winchester, you have to cut 15 thousandths off the rim. This is quite the first 3 or 4 bullets I loaded for this gun, it took me an hour per bullet, but I did shoot it. The first thing that I was using, I was taking a 6.5 by 53R, and I was blowing out the cases. I would put it in the gun, shoot it. It has to have a projectile in it, so I would shoot the projectile. The case would blow out, and the case looks like this. That's what the case looked like. Originally, that's little. That's 257 diameter. Now, it is way up there to 8.15 caliber. So I blew these cases out. And I worked with it. I actually formed the case to the chamber of the gun, and I cut them off, and I reamed them, hand done a lot of things, because I know what I'm doing with this stuff. And I got the thing loaded. It's using 20 grains of 3031 IMR, improved military rifle powder 3031. So this is what one looks like when it's loaded, and you have seen me shoot them if you watch the shooting videos. Now, we start out with a 3240 Winchester. There it is. I happened to get some of this brass, which I was very lucky to do that. And the bullets that I acquired are problematic. Right here, there is a stop. The bullet slides in there, it stops. Well, if I cut the thing off, the case off to exactly the right dimensions, and I leave this in there, the bullet won't go in the barrel because the bullet is hitting the rifling too deep. Then into the lands of the rifling, and it will not chamber. So what I have to do now is this case is too long. I have to cut this case down, and I measure it here with a caliper. Now this is with a 150 grain bullet, but the case dimensions, case length is 1.82 inches, 1.82 inches. The head diameter 421, rim diameter 484, neck diameter 346, neck length 4.85, shoulder length 2.2, loaded length 2.28. But every bullet, every gun is done, because they're all handmade, you have to load it to your gun, to your rifle. So we have to figure it out. It's not easy to figure all this stuff out. But we're gonna, first of all, we've got to cut this rim off the case, off of this bullet. This bullet will not fit in there. The cases are very thin, so if you take it, now we're going to push it in there like that a little bit, and then we're going to put it, and we're going to seat the bullet. We're going to seat it with a very long bullet, and this case is about that much too long, right? About that much too long. So now what I'm going to do, here's 3 rock chucker presses. I've had this one here for probably 60 years, I imagine, just about. Get that going up in here. We're going to now, it didn't do like I wanted it to do. See, it bulged the case out. That won't fit in the barrel, but good thing here, all we want to do is break loose that ridge, that rim. So I'll take that out of there. Now I have to cut the case off. So what we do here is I've got a bullet puller. I put that in there, and the bullet puller, and the bullet comes out. So now, see, now the case has been damaged. It's bailed out. Now I have to take this, and as you can see now, some of that lead came off of it. Where we're going to seat the bullet now is right in that top groove right there. So, I'll show you what we have to do for every bullet. Got too many things in your hand here. That puts this thing back together. Like that here is automatic power measure. We're shooting IMR 3031. That's a very old case, by the way. Now, we've got to take this bullet, and we have to trim that excess off, which is a real pain in the neck. Every time you load one of these bullets, when you pull the trigger, it is just a moment. That's all, just a moment. But preparing these shells and shooting these things is not a moment. I'm trying to get that edge off of there so we can load it in the case without damaging the case. If I could get these bullets without the ridge on them, it would save a whole lot of time. You wouldn't have to do this at all, but I can't get them as far as I know so far. Now we're going to do this again. Another pristine 3240, but it has been necked down. So we're going to do this thing again. See if we can get the rest of it off there. One more time. It got more of it off this time. See there, the lead coming off of it. Take my pocket knife and clean that up. Now, we didn't damage that. The case is not damaged. See, now I can use the case over again to prepare another bullet. Put that right down there. Now we have a bullet that we can fire. Finally, got a bullet we can fire. We're going to put that bullet right there. Now we're going to take these cases. Now, I'm going to cut the case off to 1.82. Do you see how much the case I have to cut off? That's quite a bit. That's 1/4 of an inch. But to save time, I'm going to go over here and grind part of the case off. Now, if you can see me do that, I hope. We're going to turn the grinder on. And the case gets hot, by the way, that softens the brass. Cut that off. Now we got to go over here to this other little. I don't know where my camera failure ended, but we're cutting these cases off now. We're cutting the cases off. We're going to cut them down to 1.82 inches. This is an automatic case trimmer. They're $24,000 and $500, by the way. I've got to hold this case. So we'll cut it off. I think the stop on this thing moved. So I need to reset it. Down here. And this is how you do that. You have to loosen this up. Make it go down just a little bit further. And we'll set that like that. Hopefully it will go there. We'll put it on the trim now. This one, the switch is not working right on it. Hopefully the camera will still keep going. I'm going to hold that again, the case, so it doesn't turn. Then we'll take it out and we'll measure it with the calipers. I'll bring it on, I won't move the camera. And the last time I moved the camera, it went in default and goofed up. Okay, we got a little, that's about it. We're just about where we want it there, I think. Get that off. Now we have to deburr this thing. Turn on our automatic case trimmer or deburrer, inside and outside. Now, we're going to do another thing. Hopefully this thing won't goof up. We're going to go over here where the rifle is. This is the shoots and rifle. We'll put the case in there, and we'll make sure the chamber shuts, which it does. We'll kick the bullet back out. So now we're about right. Now without moving this thing, hopefully, I'm going to go down here and let you see me do this. Hopefully. The camera doesn't go off. Now, we have to resize this thing again to make sure. And there we go. We resized it now. Now we're going to put a primer in it. I could use a priming tool on here, but I like this because I got a feel of the primer in here. And the primer goes down in there. This is a little RCBS automatic priming tool. I'm going to feel that thing all the way down there as it sets the primer and seats it. There we have a bullet. This bullet is ready for powder and ready for a projectile. Now, I used this old case probably 60 years ago. I got this RCBS lube pad, and I've been using it ever since. I have others, but I like this one best of all. You put lubricant on there, and then you rub your bullet on top of that, because if you don't do that, it will stick in here because it doesn't have any lubricant, and you may lose your case, which right now, this is expensive. These cases are probably $5 a piece. So now, I'm going to put powder in it. 20 grains of powder. And I'm going to put the projectile in the mouth of it. And I'm going to put that down here. And carefully put that into the this here seats the bullet and crimps it a little bit. Now in this case, I have a 308 Winchester seating die, factory crimping die. I slop that in there and I check it out and it is there. It's done. Perfect. Now I'm going to take the seated bullet in there. I'm going to take it back over to the rifle now. And I'm going to put this in the rifle chamber. And it fits in there perfect. So now I have one loaded bullet. Of all this time, I have one loaded bullet. Now hopefully I won't kick this camera off. I'm going to come over here and show you a little bit more. Now we have another loaded bullet. All of those processes just to load one bullet. We got one bullet loaded, okay? Now, this is a powder measure. I have another one over there on the other side that's a manual powder measure with a scale. This is a scale here, and it's an electronic scale. And we're going to set that right there. And we're going to set this on top of it, and it'll tell you how much that thing weighs, and then you push that button there, and it starts weighing it over again. Now this is how you come to the conclusion how much powder you got in this automatic powder measure. And that tells you that we have 20 grains of powder, which is great. I'll dump it back in there for now and turn this back off because it runs the batteries down. Now to do this all over again, you have to do the same thing over and over and over again. I will have to take these cases. Now I can take this case here that we use and we build out the mouth of that. I'll put it in my little case lube and I'll put it over here and resize the case again. Now I've resized the case again, so I can take another one of these bullets that aren't really the right size because they have the rim on them. Let me explain some of this to you. Why does it have a rim on it? Why does it have a stop? A lot of times these rifles are made in Germany and they go to the shooting range and they make these mouths exactly, and they'll fill this up with a powder measure, and they'll take this bullet and just drop it in there without seating the bullet or anything. It goes down to the stop right there. They stick it in the barrel and it's supposed to hit the lambs, but you have to cut your cases off exactly where to do that. This rifle here, if I cut the case off to where the bullet would fit, I'd have the case just about gone. It would be all the way down there. I can't do that. I need more case. So we're working around all of these problems. Now we're going to take this thing again and we'll get it started in that. This one worked a little better, I think. Now it did bail the case out. That's not going to work. Now I have to pull this again. One more time with a kinetic bullet puller. You put that down in there and then tighten this up. I pulled the bullet out again. Let's see if the bullet resized. It did. So maybe I won't have as many processes to go through here. As you can see here, maybe that rim came off. There it is right there. That little rim came off. That's the problem, is that rim. Now it looks okay. Looks like I can reload this thing now, or load it, period. We'll put that up there. I have a case that's been cut off and primed and ready to fly. So we're going to put some powder in it. And if you can see that, there's powder in there. I'm going to take this bullet that I've had to redo. We're going to start it in the case. And we're going to put it in here in this process. That's bailed out a little bit. It's just so critical. Now we're going to put it in this 3/8 diameter one, slide it down there, and you can see it is sticking up a little bit because of the case. Now we're going to see if we can press this down without firing it. And see if it will fit in the chamber of that rifle. Looks like it helped it some. Now I'm going to slide over here and see if this thing fits in the rifle chamber. If it doesn't, we'll have to redo it again. Fits in the rifle chamber, good. We have one more. We have one more loaded bullet. We're back over here again now. We've loaded 2 bullets so far. We will do this again now. We'll take this case, we'll resize it again. back to normal. This is not good for this. Every time you do that, it wears the case. So now we got another stop we got to get rid of. Now I'm taking out some stages here. Well, that moved it some. And of course, now we have to completely remove it again. We'll take this case, put this case down, put it in there. And we will pull it again. Now sometimes it takes quite a bit of hammering to pull it out, but I've really shortened the process up here some. Now this one did okay. That little skirt on there, that little ridge came off. That's good. So now we can load another boat. We'll put that there. I've got to go get some more powder though over here, and I'll be right back. Find it. Back. Let's see if I can find it. One thing I didn't tell you, we're using large rifle primers. Now here we have we're using large rifle primers on that. There are small rifle primers, large rifle primers, magnum rifle primers, all kinds of rifle primers. Well, I finally found the 3031 powder here. This is in a modern jug now. We'll pour some of that down in there, 3031. And we'll measure it to make sure, because the other powder was lower, we're going to make sure that this powder weighs the same per volume. So we're going to take our little scale here. We're going to set it down, we're going to turn it on, and then we're going to weigh a little trough there, reset it, do this a couple of times. We get the powder down, fresh powder in there. Now let's see how much it weighs. 20 grains of powder. 20 grains. So that is good. It's a little bit more than what it was before by about 1/100 of a grain, but that's not too bad. So now we're going to get one of our prepared cases, already with the primer in it. Here's a little box that these large rifle primers come in. There's rifle primers, shotgun primers, small pistol primers, large pistol primers, large rifle, small rifle, etc., etc., etc. They come in here like this. Now this one's already been primed. All we have to do is put powder in it. Powder. Right up there to the point. Get our little bullet that we have prepared here. Get it started in there. We're going to put it in the bullet seeder and primer, or bullet seeder and crimper, that is. And there it is. Now we're going to take our 208, we're going to slide that in there. We're going to push it down where it crimps it just a little bit more. Then we're going to go over here and see if it fits in the chamber. Again, quite a process, but that's what you have to do. And it fits. And it ejects. Another bullet. So we've loaded 3 bullets, I believe, so far today. Now you've seen me shoot these, but every time I fire one of these, this process, and I mean before, the process is quite different than it is right now. Here's a case 6.5 by 52R. I blew out a bunch of these to work. See if I can find some of those. Here we go. There's one right there. That was blown out from a 6.5. Another was a 257 diameter bullet. Now I'm going to take this over here. There's 20 bullets in there. This was a lot of work, I'm telling you. We're going to go this way. I'm going to take this bullet. Now this was a 6.5 or a 257 diameter at one time. I was blown out to 8.16 actually. It's there. Now before I finish all of this, I'm going to show the rifle to you. Here's the rifle. I do have a pad on it because that thing kicks pretty hard. This is a custom built, it's even got gold inlay, double set triggers. It has a great big large disc on the back with a little bitty peephole in it with a peep sight. You can see I'm left-handed. And you look down that thing, the scope is pretty high on the gun because you're shooting it prone like this, normally. I shoot it on a bench rest at this time. And I have a modern scope on it. It's a Simmons 4 by 12, 14, 4 by 14 power. It has a 30-inch barrel. Look right down that thing. It has a falling block action on it. Really smooth. Everything's custom on this gun. Somebody made the barrel. Somebody made the action. This is a Martini action. And then probably somebody made the trigger guard with all this fancy stuff here. Like that. They hold that against their shoulder, and this goes right up actually against your upper forearm. And of course these pop open here. So you shoot this gun something like this, you will set the trigger in the back, pull it, and then touch the one in the front, barely touch it. I mean, just touch it. It doesn't even have an ounce. It has external turrets, like the factory, or like the target rifles do. This one I had to mount it. This was real. Everything about this rifle has been extremely difficult. But even the case hardening is still on this gun. It's probably made about 1900. Beautiful stock, checkering, scroll work, gold inlay on the barrel, stock. Everything. It has inserts for the front sight and for the rear sight. They shoot these at about 200 yards offhand. They're pretty accurate with them. second here, because we'll have to do some more shells. Thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed this. We loaded some 45 ACP. We loaded some 8.15 by 46R bullets. We showed you how I brought them from 6.5 by 53R up to 8.12, that is, by 50 or 46R. I really enjoy this, doing these things. You saw the automatic case deburr and trimmer there. Then we have this Pro trim here that has a motor in it that cuts the bullets off. And we cut them down to 8.15, and then we load the bullets in, but we have to take the rim, the stop off the bullets, because it won't work. And I'll show you a little bit more about these others over here now, if the camera keeps working, I hope. Again, we have a 45 ACP. We deprime it and size it. Put a new primer in it. This is so much easier than what we're just doing over there. Prime it with powder. We're using 5 grades of unique. We're going to put this 200 grain hollow point bullet in it. We're going to seat it. And there you have a 45 ACP loaded. Over here, we're loading some 148 grain hollow point, 38 specials. You have a depriming, resizing. You open the case's neck. You prime it, or you put your powder in it with automatic powder measure. Then you come over here, you seat the bullet, and then you put a factory crimper on it with this one right here. And the same thing here. This is an automatic. You just move your shelf from one side to the other. This is a 410 3-inch, and this is 410 2.5. See, that won't work in there. It has to go over here in this one. So this one here, you take and you deprime it. You resize it there it is. Oh, you come over here, you can deprime it. Primer, resize it right there. Do that again. Try to get the start right there. But now it's resized and deprimed. You can reprime it over here. Now, some of these have an automatic primer feeds on them. This one has automatic. This one has automatic primer feed, or this one, and this one over here. It automatically feeds the primers. This is a 16 gauge. It's already been primed and ready to load. This is a 28 gauge that has been already primed and ready. I guess I better move the camera over here. Here is a 28 gauge that's already been primed and resized. And there is a 410 3-inch Magnum. It's got double lot buckshot in it. These are some of the things you do, and I'm sorry the camera wasn't on a while ago, on you, when we did some of this. Again, here's how you reprime it right there. You prime it. And this is a real good reloader. It presses it in and reprimes the brass on the shell very well. You just go around it and feed it now with different things. This is where you prime it. Right there's where you prime it. And then you put this in here, you put your shot up here. And this stands up like this. And you slide this bar back and forth for powder and shot. Anyway, give you a little bit of knowledge on that. It is very dangerous work doing this. You've got to do what you're supposed to do right. Your gun can blow up, all kinds of stuff. So you have to know what you're doing. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial with shooting with Dr. Jim. Right now we're reloading with Dr. Jim, basically. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I hope that I've helped you. Thank you.